Brody King bladed too deep, and he was trying to keep all the blood in his head before going under the lid. Bladed too deep, and he was trying to keep all the blood in his head before going under the coffin lid. Anyway, I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite Quake by the Lake, shrieking late era Vern Gagne noises with that name. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, the spiritual home of the AWA and Vern Gagne, and the home of AWA Super Sunday 1983, where Vern Gagne said, "Hey Hogan, I'm getting your Japan money, I'm getting your merch money, and you're getting the belt." "No, you're not," Hulk said. "That doesn't work for me, brother." And Vern Gagne fucked his own goddamn company royally. Took a couple years after that, but he really fucked that shit up. Good job there, Vern, you fucking idiot. Anyway, enough about Vern Gagne. This show, for good, bad, or indifferent, is certainly memorable. And we're steamrolling towards AEW All Out, where the return of CM Punk has boosted the morale and has boosted the idea of the AEW All Out main event being pretty good, though they've kind of booked themselves into a corner. Do you go with Moxley, who's a pretty popular face, or CM Punk? Who knows? We'll have to find out in a few weeks. There were some messy moments. They gave JR extra coffee because he was really, really amped up, and also a little extra snide. Not Snidely Whiplash. He was not tying women to railroad tracks while Dudley Do-Right came in for the rescue. If you are not a fan of those cartoons, you probably have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. But anyway, House of Black theme song with Brody King making his entrance, and that's all I heard. All I heard was sound like a freaking foghorn that was about to die. Not foghorn, leghorn. I say, boy. No, I don't mind screeching death metal stuff, but I don't know if it's bad acoustics or what. Darby screams into the void and comes from the void, seemingly, not the 2017-2018 horror movie. He comes from the void and hits Brody with a tack-covered skateboard, because of course he fucking does. Look, I get that it's a coffin match. Can't call it a casket match. Don't call it a casket. It's been here for years, and WWE has a trademark on it, but that doesn't really add up to the LL Cool J song. Look, they've beat each other up. Brody's attacked him at Comic-Cons and everything, including attacking him at a signing at the South Center Mall that is about, 50, 60 miles from me. Nevertheless, coffin match. The idea is you have to lock your opponent in the casket to win. So Brody gets beat up for a bit. He did blade too deep, as I just said with the terrible Sum 41 reference. And then Brody tosses him around for a bit. We get a table spot where Brody just splashes a table, completely missing Darby because Darby got off the table. Then the lights go out for about 15 years. If you can't do a good light out spot, don't fucking do it. I could have made a pizza from scratch in the amount of fucking time that these lights were out. This is an issue with like any company. Don't do this stuff. It's worse in New Japan because they do the House of Torches stuff. But this is ridiculous. Malachi and Buddy is back. I'm glad I don't think I've really seen him much. I haven't watched Dark and Dark Elevation, so I don't know if he's been on there. But then they beat up Darby for like a minute. Then a cannonball through a table. Julia's also there for what she's been worth to the House of Black. I think they've had her in matches on Dark Elevation and Dark. I might have caught clips of like a couple. But anyway, suddenly they go to the coffin, don't call it casket, and it's Sting. It's Sting, Tony. It's Sting! Because JR is just going to needle his longtime friend. Sting has makeup over his eye because Malachi misted him. Oh no, how dare you miss the icon Sting. Or as Andrade called him, Stink. Stop having Andrade talk. Anyway, back to, we'll talk about Andrade here in a minute. And Malachi has the bat and says, I don't want to do this. And then Sting walks with all the energy and enthusiasm of a senior mall walker at 7 a.m. in the morning. What mall opens at 7 a.m. in the morning? I don't know anymore. Do malls even exist besides the Mall of America? AEW should run a show in the Mall of America. That would be funny. So then a dive, and this kept going, and then Brody got hung up by his own chain or whatever, shades of Fayetteville, Georgia, on June 23rd and 24th of 2007, if you know, you know. And then Brody drops into the coffin, and the coffin, apparently I'm back in Boston. And there you go, Darby wins. Okay. Oh, at least we had the weapon stuff in the main event. Oh, right, this is the opening match. There's nothing wrong with hotshot and stuff and getting people into it and everything, but there are some issues. that AEW has to work out here. But that being said, they at least only had one little run in and all this stuff and everything in a no DQ match. But then, Jesus. Moxley then talks about the title and Jericho. He's sick of the interim label. And then Jericho says that he is going to turn back the clock. Turn it back to January 6, 2021 and stop your twat wife and your stupid mother-in-law from being there. But, that's right, Jericho. You can't turn back the clock because, and I don't care if people are sick of me getting up on this soapbox. No, I'm not going to forget that shit. And if you don't like it, go away. So Jericho is talking about being Lionheart, turning back the clock. I understand that he probably ran around the Capitol with his wife for at least half a day to be able to fit into those tights. Maybe if he didn't binge drink like a guy going through a midlife crisis for the last 15 years, then he wouldn't have such issues. Trios field is announced. Will Ospreay and Aussie Open versus Death Triangle. Andrade, Olio, and Rush, and Dragon Lee. This is how they're introducing Dragon Lee to an AEW audience, or at least a vast AEW audience. Those that have watched New Japan, and those that have watched, is it AAA or CMLL? I think it's CMLL. I forget which one has the pairing with who, but I like Dragon Lee. He was great in the Best of Super Juniors. He's talented. The Bucks and who? It's probably going to be Omega. It could be Ibushi. They did post a picture with Ibushi. And who knows? It's probably going to be Omega, though. House of Black versus Dark Order and the Truth Busters. That's Ari Daivari and the former Parker Bourgeois. And some other guy that I don't know who he is. Taking on the Best Friends. God, that's a loaded field. And I thought the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship tournament field was messy. To be fair, at least these are all mostly trios. Like trios that have actually had some interaction. So, Andrade, Olio, and Rush, with G.I. Jose, the assistant, taking on Lucha Bros and Alex Abrahantes. It's a tornado tag match, so tags don't have to happen. How is that any different than most of the Lucha Bros matches? And I like the Lucha Bros, don't get me wrong, but their matches are messes. And referee Rick Knox is there. And commentary takes the piss out of him. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but they make him look ineffective. They made all the referees look ineffective. Sans one time. But I couldn't keep track of this. It was a mess. It wasn't dull, but it also blended together. And we got an apron bump, an apron destroyer, but Andrade was back up in 30 seconds because of fucking course. And then the mask got tied up. But then there's a spare mask. But then Andrade caught and threw it into the crowd. The crowd's trying to throw it back. But this thing's a damn train wreck is what JR said. Truer words were never spoken. Hammerlock DDT 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's the end of that. That's my analysis. So, we're backstage with the Bucks and Hangman Dark Order. And the Bucks and Hangman, oh, we used to be friends. We're sorry we did this to you. We're sorry we did this and made fun of your drinking. And it's high school bullshit and it's stupid. God, why didn't you just force tears, you goddamn stupid Christian Bucks? I don't like the Bucks. I've admired some of their work. Like, there are some of their matches that have stood out. But they're fake. They're phonies. I don't believe a word they're saying. They drip with insincerity and disingenuousness. And, oh, you brought out the good in us. And Hangman, by the way, is completely cooled off. He means nothing. I have to remind myself he was world champion for 6 fucking months. Hangman refuses to team up with them, so they can't be the Hung Bucks, which I admit is a funny name. And it's going to be Omega. Have they just given up on featuring Hangman properly at all? Apparently so. This was stupid. I'm sorry. I don't care about the Bucks stuff. So Luchasaurus took on Anthony Henry and beat him. Jungle Boy was on commentary for maybe all of a minute. And then the fossil sizer, that's what it is. And then Christian's on the screen. Jungle Boy says, hey, wait a second, I know where that is. It's backstage, 50 feet away from me. I'll run back there. And then Luchasaurus takes out the security, including Agent Pat Buck, and then Jungle Boy chases after him. Didn't put his hands on Christian, because this is going to be a ruse, and Luchasaurus is going to turn on Jungle Boy at All Out, which is apparently over there. But then again, that is east, away from me, so that makes sense. Miro says, Malachi, you have put me through the ringer. Hell is empty because all the devils are here. And then Julia tells him to embrace the gift like she did, and she touches his shoulder. Only one woman can touch a Redeemer, and you are not her. You tell him that I will accept the gifts, and I'm going to use them to destroy him. This was good. Miro's promos often are really good. Pre-tapes or not, they are pretty goddamn good. He wants to destroy God. I can't fault him there. And then Mark Henry is interviewing Will Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs. And the factory interrupts. Hobbs says, don't let your problem become mine. And then Lethal Dutton, Giant Silva Jr. show up. They are trying to get Wardlow to give him another match. So Wardlow agrees, and FTR shows up. Huge pop, and they hit a big rig on Lethal. They were just throwing people out there. That's what they're doing with FTR. One of the, if not the best tag team in the world, and has been the best tag team this year alone. They've been one of the best tag teams of the last few years. Actually, I'd argue probably the best tag team in a while, but then again, some people will say the Young Bucks. Some people will be wrong. So, yeah, Shivani then interviews... Why does one of the former 2.0 members have a goddamn, knife comb thing like he's in Grease? He's more like, Jericho Appreciation Society, they're more like Grease too. Anna Jay then chokes out some woman with blue hair. I don't know who the hell that is. Probably a wrestler that they brought in for dark tapings or the dark taping or whatever. Because I would imagine she was probably an enhancement talent for them. But Anna Jay, stop having Anna Jay talk unless you're going to give her good material. Stop having any of these fuckers talk. Daniel Garcia, well, that was the best promo that he cut because he really didn't get to say much of anything. And then package on Starks and Solo because they used to team up. I actually saw them at a couple indie shows, and you know what? I'm so happy for their success. Starks then beats Aaron Solo pretty quickly, even with some interference. Cole Carter tried to interfere, but the ref kicked him out. And then we get a few counters and a spear, 1, 2, 3. And then he dodges Camarado's chair, hits him with a spine buster, and runs through the crowd. Hobbs throws a TV backstage. Stop breaking shit. You're not WCW in 1999. Don't worry, nothing bad happened in WCW about 15 months later. With a corporate merger. I really hope that doesn't happen with AEW. I really hope that doesn't happen, but history repeating itself. Lexi Nair is with the Gun Club. He wants the Gun Club to get back to business, but they're going to face off against Danhausen and Eric Redbeard, the former Eric Rowan. I don't know what they're doing in this company sometimes. That's going to be a match on Rampage. Of course, Stokely, before that, did call Billy Grandpa ass. That was pretty funny. Backstage with the best friends, Ari Daivari, Parker Boudoir, and who is the other guy? Who is the other guy with the weird backwards cap that was upside down? Answers, please. Seriously, I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know. Madison Rayne makes her entrance and then faces Jade in a match that, boy, Jesus Christ, Jade is not very good. She tries. Oh my God, does she try? But whoever's booking her like this should be locked in institution. Once the bell rings, it's all over. Jade looks great and can do some athletic stuff. She is an athlete. So was Tom McGee. So was Goldberg. Difference is Goldberg drew money. Distraction. And Jaded, 1, 2, 3. Very stiff spear, by the way, earlier. Suddenly, Athena shows up in disguise and attacks Jade. And Kira has to help Jade out. And then Shivani is with Thunderstorm. Statlander's injured again. I did see the clip. I really hope it's not that bad, but it looks like she tore everything in her goddamn knee. Her knee buckled. I hope she's going to be all right. I hope maybe it's just a sprain and she just needs some physical therapy. I fear she's going to be out till at least March. I hope not, because she came back from a pretty severe knee injury and dropped the alien stuff and got better. But Tony is now in the number 1 contender spot. Match it all out? I hope so. Don't put Britt in it. We don't need Britt back in that match. Rampage. Danielson makes his return and speaks, and we hear from Hook. That's all this show's going to get. Gun Club against Redbeard and Danhausen. Beardhausen. Good thing that show's taped. Swerve in Our Glory interview, Parker Boudoir versus Sonny Kiss, because I did see this clip. Sonny Kiss, apparently they're implying that he might turn heel and join the Truth Busters because Ari Daivari is trying to get talent to sign up with him. If it gets Sonny Kiss on camera and maybe they can showcase whether Sonny has gotten better in the past couple years or not, do something. You touted Sonny Kiss being somebody that they could feature. And also Cassidy versus Ari Daivari. God, Rampage is just a phoned-in show. Sammy and Ty mellow, as in we've all mellowed out on watching her in the ring, versus Dante Martin and Sky Blue. I guess Dante Martin is not injured, or at least isn't as injured as people initially thought. That's good. It's the AAA Mixed Tag titles. Are you fucking serious? They have AAA Mixed Tag titles? Dynamite from Charleston, West Virginia. Andrade El Olio Rush, Dragon Lee against the Bucks and their partner Ibushi or Omega. Tony Storm versus Kylan King. Good. Kylan King's getting a shot. At least Kylan King's actually a pretty good wrestler. Getting into the getting into the first few years of her career, she's improved quite a bit. Danielson and Garcia in a 2 out of 3 falls match, and Lionheart Chris Jericho makes his entrance. Okay, look, it was an ECW theme that they used. That's fine. I'm surprised they didn't use the WCW theme, but maybe WWE owns that. Maybe they didn't want to pay for it. Maybe they just decided the ECW theme was better. Wild Thing You Make Minneapolis Sing, and Moxley versus Jericho 2. AEW Interim World Title match. I'm going to surprise you guys. This is the best Jericho has looked in a while. It shouldn't have gone as long as it did, but I get why it did. They started with nice wrestling, some good submissions. The thing is, the match just completely went off the rails on a crazy train later. Aubrey was made to look like a goof later. And I like Aubrey. I think Aubrey's a great referee. There was a crossface. There was some other good submission trades. The buckle pad got pulled off. Sammy is in the crowd and tosses the belt. And tosses it all the way to Mount fucking Rushmore because he overshot that like crazy. And they made Aubrey look like a goof because she's just stumbling around. Oh, wait, here's distractions. Oh, what's going on here and everything. And Aubrey's not an idiot. I don't really understand why they do this. But the pad bump. By the way, earlier, Mox was bleeding from the ear because Jericho ripped his earring out. And yeah, ears tend to bleed. Head wounds tend to bleed. Massive head wound, Harry. Nobody that's under the age of 40 even fucking remembers that. But nevertheless, Mox is bleeding from the ear, and then he's bleeding from the eyes. Jericho has that injured nose. He takes a buckle bump. So everybody's bleeding. Everybody's bleeding. Popcorn vendors are fucking bleeding at this point because it's the day that ends in Y. So Moxley, of course, is bleeding. It's losing all effect now. And then the Lion Tamer, and Excalibur even says, I think that he's bleeding from the nose as blood's gushing down his face. And I like Excalibur as a commentator, but that was a pretty stupid line. And then elbows, and we get a choke and a tap out. Jericho loses. What? Good. Jericho tapped out. And then get Jericho out of the main event scene is what I noted, because that's pretty much the peak. He can't do anything anymore. And I hope that this is it. I hope that he doesn't have another option, he doesn't pick that up, and that he's gone from the company by the end of 2022, early 2023. What else can he do? He's been dragging the show down for a while. This is the peak. That's it. So we get an aftermath with everybody running in. Everybody running in. Even janitors ran in. Everybody from Jericho Appreciation Society, Blackpool Combat Club. And then, like Mussolini and Kennedy, it's a cult of personality. CM Punk shows up, takes them all out. CM Punk chants, stares down Moxley. Somehow the ring bell ends up in the goddamn ring. It's chaos. There's your all-out main event. It wasn't a bad show. The crowd was pretty goddamn hot, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens after All Out. Because that's going to be telling. That is another show in Chicago, and they booked themselves into a corner. Mox is going to may have to turn heel to save face, and Punk almost has to win. So who knows what is going to happen. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.